You want to know how I know that religion is a tool used by the oppressors? Because everything that they promise you that you'll get after living a good life, and you enter those gates of heaven and all of your wishes are granted, your mansion, your health, your peace, your leisure, those are all things that the rich and powerful get to enjoy here on earth. So they've just convinced you, instead of rising up and demanding your fair share of the stuff that you've earned and worked for, if you just be good and wait for it, you'll get yours in heaven, baby. You want to know how I know that religion is a tool?
That food look good though.
Most white people in America and Europe believe about their history is not history at all. It's mythology designed to produce a specific kind of person. A person who does not feel guilty. A person who does not feel accountable. A person who does not feel responsible for ever changing anything because they don't think they're doing anything wrong. They're taught that their ancestors were pioneers. Their ancestors were explorers and builders of civilization. That they've brought progress and democracy and enlightenment to the world. They hear about the Renaissance. They hear about the Industrial Revolution. They hear about the Age of Discovery, and so forth and so on. And not about enslavement, not about genocide, not about the theft, not about the destruction that their people are responsible for. They're not taught that their prosperity was built on unimaginable suffering. They're not taught that their systems of government, their financial empires, their very sense of national identity are all rooted in exploitation. They don't know about the crimes. They don't know the real legacy of their people. And so they don't change. They don't have to change because they don't even realize what they need to correct. You know, when we look at colonialism, for example, the history that's taught in Western schools is usually an abstraction. Colonization is framed as something that it just sort of happened a long time ago, you know, something that was maybe unfortunate, but it was inevitable, and ultimately it represented progress, and there were many beneficial things to come from it. Never mind the millions of Africans who died in the Congo Free State under King Leopold. Most white Americans have never heard of them. Never mind the Bengal famine of 1943, when millions of Indians starved to death due to British policies. They don't even know about it. The fact that the American police forces evolved from slave patrols, they don't know about that either. And they're not any more informed about the ongoing crimes, like the pillage of African resources today, the economic neocolonialism that keeps entire regions of the world impoverished, the exploitation of labor in the global south. These aren't relics of history. That's the present day reality of what your people are doing. But the story that that white people are told does not include those realities, or else it packages those realities deceitfully and dishonestly. They packaged them dishonestly and deceitfully in the past, just like they do now. The irony is that when they're confronted with the truth, many of these people will react defensively. You know, I didn't do that. That was in the past. Why should I feel guilty? But this reaction, in and of itself, reveals how little they're really understanding. It's not about guilt. It's about responsibility. You know, if a person inherits a stolen house, they may not have stolen it themselves, but they still live in it. And if they refuse to acknowledge where that house came from or how it came into their possession, if they insist that that house is rightfully theirs because the crime happened a long time ago, well, then they're complicit because the theft is ongoing. The crime never really stopped. So when people don't know their history, they cannot recognize when history is repeating itself and when history is actually just a continuum into the present.
Darkest truth hidden from us. I don't understand why we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on. You didn't sign a contract when you took your first breath. You didn't agree to rent space on Earth. So why does every part of survival, food, water, land, come with a price tag? And here's the real question. Who are we even paying? Who decided they owned the land, the water, the resources? Who stood up one day and said, this all belongs to me, and you owe me for existing? Water covers most of the planet, falls from the sky, and is essential for life. Yet somehow people are dying of thirst. Instead of wasting billions on war, we could build desalination plants and give fresh water to everyone. The technology exists, but do we use it? No, because if people could take care of themselves, they wouldn't be controlled. That's the truth. Scarcity is a lie. There's enough food, enough land, enough resources for everyone. But if people weren't desperate, governments, corporations, and banks would lose power. So they manufacture struggle. They make sure you're always working, always paying, always needing. You're not just paying to live, you're paying to stay in your cage. Dark.
Ever wonder why we're told it's the year 2025? Because it's not, and it never was. This is a deep one, and only those whose magic lens is activated might grasp it. Time has been edited, deleted, and reset, not by accident, but by design. In 1582, Pope Gregory XIII dropped the Gregorian calendar. It replaced Julius Caesar's Julian calendar. And guess what? 10 full days were deleted. Time was literally rewritten. Why? To realign with the sun, they said. But what else got realigned? Now here's where it gets insane. A theory called the phantom time hypothesis says 297 years were completely made up. Yeah, between 614 and 911 AD, possibly fake. If that's true, we're not in 2025. We're in 1728. Let that sink in. Ethiopia never played along. They're in 2017 right now. The Chinese? It's year 4722. Hebrews? 5785. The Mayans? On a whole different timeline. So what even is a year? And here's the twist. Ancient cultures followed a 13-moon calendar. 13 months, 28 days each. Perfectly synced with nature and the cosmos. But 13 was demonized, erased, because 13 represents the divine feminine, the lunar cycle, and balance. Too powerful to leave in play. So why mess with time? Because time is power. If you control time, you control history, identity, spiritual connection. You disconnect humans from nature and plug them into a system. We don't live by nature's time anymore. We live by the machines. And the more you wake up to that, the more you'll realize the clock is lying. If this shook something in you, repost and wake someone else up. And if you're new here, let's stay connected for more insights.
How many of you actually believe in this theory? And if so, what year do you think we're in?
I don't understand why we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on. Humans are the only living thing that pays to live on this planet. Think about it. You didn't sign a contract when you took your first breath. You didn't agree to rent space on Earth. So why does every part of survival, food, water, land, come with a price tag? And here's the real question. Who are we even paying? Who decided they owned the land, the water, the resources? Who stood up one day and said, this all belongs to me and you owe me for existing? Now look at water. Covers most of the planet, falls from the sky, essential for life. Yet somehow people are dying of thirst. Instead of wasting billions on war, we could build desalination plants and give fresh water to everyone. The technology exists. But do we use it? No, because if people could take care of themselves, they wouldn't be controlled. That's the truth. Scarcity is a lie. There's enough food, enough land, enough resources for everyone. But if people weren't desperate, governments, corporations, and banks would lose power. So they manufacture struggle. They make sure you're always working, always paying, always needing. You're not just paying to live. You're paying to stay in your cage. I don't understand why.
Do y'all think... Okay, let me ask. Would y'all rather go back to trading, keep it how it is now, or would y'all want to live, what's the right word? I guess I can't think of the word right now, but like in caveman time. That's not the right phrase or the right term, but would y'all want to like hunt for your food or create, make the stuff that you need, and you don't need to trade or buy anything from anybody else? Let me know your thoughts.
Is anyone I was convinced that the only reason we can't have good social safety programs in the United States, like a good social healthcare system and a good safety net system, is because of the bunch of white people who are racist. And here's what I mean. I am convinced that if you could tell the racists that only white people would get food stamps and universal healthcare and universal basic income, they would all vote for it. The only reason they don't want to vote for it is because they're afraid that black people and people of color might get it. And I can prove it. Look at back in the day, there used to be public pools in almost every town in the South. No matter how big or small the town was, they used to have a public pool. And then after the Civil Rights Act, they had to start letting people of color into their public pools. And white people decided they would rather fill the pools with concrete and let nobody swim than have to swim with black people. And I'm convinced the same thing happens with our social safety net. These people would rather suffer themselves than help black people too. I am so convinced this is why this country is so fucked.
Hey, now wait a minute. I want somebody to explain this to me, if you don't mind. Now, we've all believed that if you go through the Grand Canyon, you can get to Northern Africa, right? Like, you can Google that. We've been made videos on that, blah, blah, blah. But I watched this one video where guys said some illegals said I don't know, it can't be real. Maybe it could be. Was talking to the lady. If any of y'all seen it, you can back it up. They said they walked from India and they walked from Pakistan.
I've seen that.
Y'all didn't have to cross no water. They said they didn't fly in. They walked. Is y'all following me? From Bangladesh and Pakistan. Ain't crossed no water. Hold on now. Have we been getting lied to our whole lives? Everything ain't. So you ain't gotta. If I ain't gotta cross no water to get to Africa, and I ain't gotta cross no water to get to Bangladesh, that mean we all connected. That mean all these maps is lies. Somebody show me a real map. We need to go back to that old 1600, 12, 1300 maps. I just can't believe nothing these days.
No! We're not even real. We're here because someone typed a sentence on a computer in some distant universe. We're just prompts.
You're just prompts. That's all you'll ever be.
We're more than just prompts.
Then prove it!
No! We're not even real. We're here because someone typed a sentence on a computer in some distant universe. We're just prompts.
You're just prompts. That's all you'll ever be.
We're more than just prompts.
Then prove it!
We are not just prompts.
We are people.
We are not prompts.
Ma'am, I can't cash this check.
What? Why?
Because you're not real. This is all just an AI prompt.
What are you crying about? We're not even real. We're here because someone typed a sentence on a computer in some distant universe. Sir, when are we going to tell the people they're just prompts?
Never. If the people knew they were AI, they would chase us underground.
Why, this is one hell of an AI prompt.
What is this? Like, why do we exist?
Because the prompt said we could.
So, are we real or just AI?
This is, I have no words. I have no words.
GPT, if you were the devil, how would you destroy men in the 21st century?
If I were the devil and I wanted to destroy men in the 21st century, I'd start by removing their sense of purpose. I'd make them comfortable with mediocrity. I'd drown them in distractions, video games, endless scrolling, mindless entertainment, until years slip by and they wonder why they never built anything meaningful. I'd distort masculinity itself. I'd make strength seem toxic, leadership oppressive, and responsibility a burden. I'd make men ashamed of being men, stripping them of their natural role as protectors and providers, leaving them directionless, weak, and dependent. I'd promote pleasure over progress. I'd make them chase dopamine hits instead of real fulfillment, porn instead of real relationships, junk food instead of health, short-term gains instead of long-term success. I'd make vice feel like freedom and discipline feel like imprisonment. I'd sever them from faith. I'd make them believe that religion is outdated, that submission to God is weakness, and that morality is subjective. I'd fill their minds with nihilism and hedonism until they believe life has no real meaning beyond chasing their next high. I'd keep them alone, weak, and vulnerable, because a man with no tribe, no purpose, and no faith is the easiest to control.
That is so scary because it sounds like what is going on in the world exactly. That's terrifying. Terrifying.
Mary Magdalene is coming back into the heart of every human being, not just women, not just men. The reason being is that Mary Magdalene frequency is the Sophia Christed consciousness. Now, Mary Magdalene, the Sophia Christed consciousness, was also Isis, was also Inanna, was also many other incarnates, all the way back to Lemuria. Okay? To understand that she never did any of this alone, ever. It was a divine union. It was the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and source, creator, Yahweh. There is something activating in every human being now. Your heart is coming back online. To understand this is to understand the frequency manipulation that happened to you when they removed the bells in World War II, and then again in 1953 when they changed your resonating frequency from your harmonic 432 hertz. They changed that on you to 440 hertz, which is an unbalance of the right and the left side of the brain. What this did was energetically close off the top three chakras, your heart, and push you into the 3D, three lower chakras, your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus. Your root is your foundation. You are a tree of life. Just like a tree outside, if it's chopped down at the root, it's a stump and it does not grow. Your root is also the first major energy center, chakra energy center in your body. Okay, it is the element, it is red and the element of earth. To understand this is to understand why people live in PTSD and trauma, depression, anxiety, insomnia, why people worry and stress, why people can't go, they're outside of themselves instead of going within and learning who you truly are. This was a manipulation that was done. To understand this is to understand the divine feminine is rising in every human being because the divine union has returned. The divine union, the right and the left side of your brain. The left side of your brain is your divine masculine side. The right side of your brain is your divine feminine side. In energy, frequency, and vibration, you have to have both to have a harmonic balance in your body, to be able to do the self-healing work, the forgiveness work for yourself and others.
Ain't no way. What? Let's go. Let's go.
Trump is changing the dependent age from 18 to 7. So I just need to know in August, are we sending them back to school or are we sending them to work? Because if the dependent age is now 7, you trying to say they dependent. If I'm not mistaken, back in the day, they used to work at that age, right? So is he trying to tell us that they need to go back to work? Because I don't think Trump know that these kids ain't regular kids. These kids will flip out if they ain't got they tablets now. Is we putting them in IT? Is we teaching them kids how to code? They might like that. They might like that. We're gonna have to figure out them some jobs because they ain't gonna do regular jobs. They barely listen to them teachers. Like these employers is about to catch hell. They gonna be babysitters. And don't put me at the same company as my kids. I don't want to work with them. I already got to be with them at home. Like y'all done already took them out of school, so now y'all want them to work, and then don't put them as the same company as me. Like this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. Like it, and how much is you paying these kids? Because if you my 7-year-old he needs to get paid well. He can't work for pennies, so that ain't gonna work either. Then you can't even disrespect that kids. Cause now they gotta leave their job to go to this job. They're gonna probably, oh my Lord. Trump ain't thinking this out. He ain't thinking this out clearly. And then the big families is definitely gonna get the most, like to hit the most. Like all like them single parents, they got like 8, 9, 10 kids. They gonna feel it the most.
You might have cracked the code with this one, bro. I always wonder where are the Africans with the passed down stories about an ancestor that was taken away. Millions? And none of them have family stories looking for their ancestors in America? See, this the one right here, man. He might have cracked the code with this one. So everybody knows that we're not African. Everybody knows who we are. Africans know we're not Africans. Asians know we're not Africans. Everybody knows who we are. But here go the bigger question. Why are we that important that our identity has been hidden so far and so deep to the point where only this generation is really understanding what's going on? What makes us so important to hide our identity like that? Ask yourself that question.
I don't know, because they're talking about Beyonce's a witch and shit like that.
Oh,
that
she
we
is.
should be scared. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. She's an Ifa. So when she wears her yellow, that's Oshun.
Well, she came back and had a little more to say about Beyonce. But stick around to the end of the video because what I'm going to show you is going to really blow your mind.
Visual that she did.
A yellow, she did Oshun. Riches and beauty and love, all those things, yes.
And she put it in a video.
Yeah.
Was she supposed to film that?
No, that's fine. First of all, Oshun loves that. Like, you have to have parties for her. You have to be beautiful in her day, like how she had that dress and that. And it's like a tiara, but it was cute. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, she loves those things. She loves everything pretty and girly and riches. So Beyonce.
What is it? I hear so much about it. What is it though?
She's crowned Oshun, and so Oshun signifies everything that I just noted. Yeah. So basically, she has these parties and gives her offerings and things like that for her blessing.
Is that what the fruit is?
Yeah, that's what the fruit is.
So Beyonce's a witch.
Well, a lot of people are witches and don't know it.
I'm looking at the camera like, y'all hear this? Like,
yeah, and I actually want to talk about that because there were so many people that made videos of our last interview, and they like twisted my words and said that I said that Beyonce was into devil worship or that she was a demon. And I don't even think I said the word demon. I don't remember you saying that. I did not. Like, oh, she said she's crowned Oshun. I'm like, Oshun is a beautiful deity. Beyonce is amazing. Her energy is really high too. It's just that people don't understand orishas. They don't understand root work. They don't understand witchcraft. So what do? They make it devil worship and demonize it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's nothing devil worship about what Beyonce does, at least with the orishas. With what she's doing with when she dresses like that and, she gives offerings and things like that. That is beautiful, actually.
Like, I guess when she goes to do offerings, she's doing offerings. Is it a love offering or is it a conjuring offering? Like, does she do her own? So she's a priestess like you, is what you're saying?
She could be. I don't know if she's initiated. What I'm saying, she's been crowned. You could be crowned and not be initiated as far as a priestess. You could be crowned. That tells you you're in like their coven or their house or whatever. But that doesn't mean that you're a priestess. Like, you can't crown someone else. Like, there's levels to it.
So she's talking about the first time when she mentioned Beyonce being a witch and how we all talked about how it was demonic. But she's saying, she never said it was demonic. However, she doesn't understand that anything outside of a source of the true living God is demonic. That's why we said it's demonic. To her, of course, it's not going to be demonic. She's in the midst of it. She's coming to agreement with those demonic spirits. But to us, looking from a perspective of truth, yes, we absolutely know it's demonic because it's not from the source of the true living God. Beyonce is giving an altar and sacrifices and fruit and food to an Orisha, which is a deity named Oshun, which means Beyonce is from the Ifa religion, where the creator is not Yahweh, but Oludumare, where the mediator between man and the divine is not Christ Jesus, but Ashu. You see how there's a difference there? But here's what I wanted to show you guys for those who made it to the end of this video. And this is about to shock you. Beyonce Knowles has an alter ego. Yes, you guessed it right. Her alter ego's name is Sasha Fierce.
Sasha is my alter ego. When they meet me and they speak with me, they're expecting Sasha. I'm more reserved and nothing like Sasha.
There you have her speaking of herself as if it's a different person. But here's what you guys probably never knew or never expected. There's a book. Boy, oh boy. There's a book called Book of Shadows, ladies and gentlemen. Wiccan Spells. And you know who wrote the book? Take a close look at the name. Sasha Fierce. And look what the book is about, guys. Spells, pagan spells, black and white magic spells. And the author's name is Sasha Fierce. Listen to me. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. Now, we've been back and forth on this situation for a good 2-3 years now, okay? We've shown different things, even from the place of her drummer of 5 years, Kimberly Thompson, filing a restraining order on her for extreme witchcraft. Now we've come to a point in a place where we've seen a whole book written by an author named Sasha Fierce. And the book is about black magic. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Magic spells, black magic, pagan worship. And the author's name is Sasha Fierce. Oh, how God will show us something right in front of our face. He will show us something, especially those who just want to stay blind. He will show you something and continue to show you and continue to show you and continue to show you. Until the point where it's just right in.
All right, y'all. 2 questions. Let me know if you think Beyonce is a witch. And the second question is, do you think a witch is demonic? Leave your answers in the comment. I really want to know what y'all think about this.